right. Spared you all the details of the act of getting on board. Slightly less than graceful this morning. Welcome to winter. Hey. All right. When you got work to do, can't always worry about the weather. And in this work, the weather isn't too bad. Sorry for the sniffles. It is 26 degrees this morning. So I am fairly certain wherever you were watching this from is slightly more cozy than this. Good job, Mama. But this riding skirt is like the greatest invention in the last 300 years. And I am cozy, and she's got her nice woolly coat on. She's cozy. So we're all right. Hopefully my fingers warm up a little more, but we'll see. So hello from Maryland. Snowy at the moment in Maryland. I am Jenny Brandon, an animal communicator and energy healer for animals and their people too. And this is my friend Tali. And we are exercising this morning despite the weather. Snow is much more tolerable than rain. So we're going to test this equipment out in the cold, see how it does. So we are working on balance in all 3 dimensions with her. Oop, there's a bit of a wobble. It's all right. So she had a suspensory strain on her right hind just over 2 years ago now. And since then, we've been riding for about 6 months, a little more than 6 months again. And she has been coming along marvelously since then. She's 25 years old. She is a Kentucky mountain horse. So she is gaited, which gives her a predisposition to what we kind of think of as loose joints in humans, which makes her struggle even more with her body and her balance. But she is coming along incredibly well. We are both going to be very snowy by the time we're done. And this is the part that looks the most boring to the external eye, but is the most fun to me, I think, because we really get to refine what we're working on, and we get to really put it into more action on a deeper level. So I love these little neck stretches and her kind of rooting with her nose, as we call it. That's her releasing muscles in her neck and her back, finally, that have been chronically tight for pretty much her entire life. So for the first time ever, in the last month or so is when it started, I've actually begun to feel her kind of operating from her hind end. So the power and the control is now coming from the hind end rather than initiating from the front end. And that's one of those subtle changes that until it really happens, you just don't know. You don't know what it feels like. But when it happens, man, it is remarkable. Very obvious, and feels really good. There is so much more stability that comes with that. And for a horse like her with sort of the loose joint issue, that's a big deal. And it is very dramatic feeling. So I'm loving how low her head is today. That's really a sign that she's, again, releasing that top line really, really effectively. My fingers are frozen. I have to remember in this weather to wiggle things a little more than usual, because otherwise kind of lose feeling. That's not helpful. In this weather, I also have to be very cognizant of my own body because due to the temperatures, there's that tendency to want to kind of clench the muscles and curl up from the cold, and it's not helpful. So that's where the layers come in handy. Probably should have worn a few more today. High today is 42, but as of this moment, I'm a little skeptical we're going to get there. Depends on how long this snowstorm lasts. Good job. Breathing is excellent. That's a nice release, and it's also an excellent reminder to make sure you are breathing. So every time my animals offer me a nice big sigh, I always take that chance to check in with my own breath, find out how I am doing. Tuck that in the front of my leg a little more. It's getting drafty over there. I do love this riding skirt. It traps the body heat of the horse and really makes you feel super warm, super cozy. If only I could get my fingers that warm, I would be even better. So I am loving how careful she is being. I can feel her really concentrating on every footstep. I often, there is a lot of lift under there. Whee! And a stretch at the same time. Excellent. I often liken this work to walking on a balance beam for an hour. So if you had a really skinny rail or a curb, that you were walking on and having to concentrate on for a very extended period of time, you're going to engage all of your muscles. Your whole body is going to be participating in the act of staying balanced. And that is what this work is like for them. It's really focusing on that whole body balance, because it takes the whole body. Very good. Perfect. So lovely. And there was a nice little lick and chew in there, which is excellent. So what I am focusing on is underneath my saddle. I want to imagine it like I have crosshairs splitting the saddle left, right, and front, back. So we have 4 quadrants. And then those crosshairs, I want to imagine there's like a bubble, like a level. Just that circular bubble. And I want that bubble to feel like it's dead center in the crosshairs. And so wherever they push the bubble, it's going to go to the high point, right? So that's what you're looking for, is the feeling of the high point. And wherever that bubble goes is where my weight needs to counterbalance to push that bubble back to the center. So when they get this well balanced, that bubble moves less. However, it tends to move a little more rapidly. So it's a constant adjustment. I once told a friend this is like operating a canoe that bends in the middle. So if the canoe tips, if you put your weight and allow it to go down when the one side of the canoe goes down, you're going to flip the canoe or the kayak, right? Stand-up paddleboard, surfboard, it's all the same. Even a bike. So if you follow that weight shift, that dip downward, you're going to go with it. And that's going to flip you right out. So the goal is to keep your weight on the high side, the higher spot, and always keep looking for it. Perfect. Lovely. Her word's lovely. I have 3, my horse, a foster horse, and then her that I work regularly, and everybody has a word. Hers is lovely, but I often forget and call her perfect, which is my foster horse's word, but that's okay. I know she knows all the same. I love how much experimenting and exploring she's doing right now. So it's really, really good. So that bubble is what you want to be looking for constantly. And following that feel, because the object is to stay level. So she just really dropped me on the right side there, so I really had to load the left side. What often happens is we will follow that downward drop and then tense up on the opposite side really hard to hold us and prevent us from falling. But that doesn't do the horse any favors. It doesn't do us any favors either. Someone else just arrived at the barn. Don't know if we're going to end up with company or not. I guess we'll find out. Lovely. And she's really putting in a lot of effort. So lovely. One of the other images that I really like to play with is the image of a tree and my especially lower body stable like a tree. Nice and deeply rooted, so that if she were to disappear out from under me, I would land on my feet. And that feeling of a tree, there's something about that image that allows the horse to get more stable. I don't know what it is about thinking about that gives us more stability. Lovely. There's another lick and chew. And enables them to find more stability in the process. A little wobble, but that's all right. She's doing some good releasing. So we just ask for things to be straightened out again. So this is part of the act of constantly redirecting and correcting ourselves and our own balance in order to allow the horse to balance underneath us. The more we worry about ourselves, the more the horse can find their own way. And we are no longer in their way in that process. There's another lick and chew. And I felt a sigh, which is nice. Really, really good. This is just really, really good. Minutes, great. So we're gonna at least do 20. My distraction brought about a wobble. That's all right. So we got about 5 more minutes this way. And then we'll change direction and see what we get. Good job. So my sneaky spot is my right side. I tend to unload my weight out of my right side without realizing I've done it. Everyone has a sneaky spot, including our horses. We have to be careful that the information we're receiving, we're taking in authentically and 100% at its face value, so not distorting the information. The hard part about that is we all have blind spots, and one of the things that I have learned, there's a nice little release and shift. What I have learned is that in order to make sure that you are not allowing a blind spot to dictate what's happening, is you need to make sure that you have multiple ways to check on things and that you find the way that works best for you. So when you're looking for the high side, you can either look for the high side or look for the low side. And if you have one body part that you know you can connect with more easily, you have to check there and ask, is this high, is this low? And then really be aware of that other side where things tend to hide. And it's all about looking for whatever registers for you the best. So that's going to be different for every person. The imagery that works for every person is going to be different. Nice stretch. Lovely. And so what makes it click for each person is going to be different. But your horse will tell you when you've got it right, because they are going to naturally want to feel good. Us humans have a way of getting all contorted and not realizing we're contorted and not recognizing when something feels better. And to our nervous system, different is deadly. So therefore, when you go to make a change, even if it's for the better, that can trigger the nervous system into feeling that something is different and therefore it's wrong. So it takes time to work through these layers. And this is where that small steps, small changes is so critical. It's just being aware of exactly what's happening and looking for the improvement. And sometimes waiting. Those improvements take time, and sometimes the game is to wait long enough for it to stick. Lovely. Lovely. Yes, lovely. So even though her head is down, I can still feel that hind end really operating and really engaged with the forward movement. So even though she's going into, quote, long and low, she is not dumping her weight on the forehand. Her center of gravity is not shifted forward. Her center of gravity is still up in the center and back below the saddle. So she's clearly working through something. We're getting a few more wobbles here, which is fine. So this is about 20 minutes. So this is how long it's taking her to really start to make some new changes. Feeling a little more wiggle here, which tells me something might be freeing up. So the first phase of finding a better pattern is actually, it's going to feel worse because the muscles that are needed to stabilize are weak, right? They haven't been used, they're underused. And so in the beginning, that newfound movement is wobbly, just like that. So she is working very hard. This is where I have to watch my right side a lot because she just wandered into the middle. So she blew through my right side, but all we have to do is redirect, refocus. There we go. So that's the thing about new patterns is they feel bad at first. They don't feel good. Am I right? How are you? It's the only day I had. The snow wasn't supposed to be here till this afternoon.
Yeah, I know.
I got up this morning and was like, really?
How's the pudding?
I mean, it's pretty hard, but it doesn't bother us. But it's not terrible. Could be worse.
Okay, fair.
I mean, walking's fine.
I'm not doing anything but curious regardless.
Yeah. I mean, most of it's harrowed. The couple spots where the harrow really didn't hit are a little worse, but
Yeah, that's usually how it is.
yeah. I mean, I feel like it's kind of only frozen on, like, not very far, so it's not too bad.
Well, it's no different than them walking out in the field, at least with arrows.
True.
Have a good ride.
Thanks. Alrighty. Woo! A little bit of wobbles. Little bit of wobbles. Alright, let's check our time. Oh, 23 minutes. Let's turn you around, my dear. So I'm going to wait till we get down here to the straight side. And then we're going to turn around where we have lots of room. So she picks the direction to go. And then we change directions about somewhere between 20 and 25 minutes, depending on how she's feeling. I like the changes she's making, and I think we're getting a little bit of stability through this. Oh, my knuckles are aching from the cold. All right, let's get down here to the end of this side, and we're going to turn around. So, lovely. Oh, a little bit of wobble. Through the turn, we simply try to maintain straightness. So all the way down the spine, from the poll, the ears, all the way through to the tail. The question is, can we stay straight even as we turn? So I'm just gently asking with my leg and my seat. And again, rule number 1 is stay straight no matter where we go. So we have a nice wide turn. And she says, something different. Lovely. So now I get to explore where is the bubble in this direction. Because things can be completely different one direction to the other. Due to that right hind injury, she tends to be more stable this way, but that is not always the case. I like how long and low her neck is. Which is nice. So, goal is to get another at least 20 minutes. But she tells me when she's tired, and she's honest. So we take that. We'll see how far we get today. The other fun piece about this kind of work is that it really gives the rider a chance to focus on themselves, because at this point, that is the key to better balance, is the rider's ability to stay balanced on the horse. And so I get a lot of time to work on myself. And where is my balance? How quickly can I respond to the bubble? How easily can I bring her back when she wobbles? How little can the wobbles be? And it's all just information and feedback. There's no right or wrong. No, you're not dealing with the gate, darling. So again, I go back to my bubble image. I go back to my tree image. And as soon as I refocus on those things, she slows down. As soon as I really get clear and grounded in my body, she responds. Like I said, that's the beauty of this work, is that you get the instant feedback from the horse when you get it right. They're far enough along that their balance, they can quickly recover and reorganize themselves, even though they're not strong. Lovely. And so really affords us an opportunity to really refine our own skills. Ooh, little wobbles. And the thing about it is, this is all just foundational work, right? This is all nothing more than continuing to work on and be aware of the basics. The stronger your foundation is, the stronger everything else is. There we go. Really nice. Really nice. Just felt something releasing in her shoulder somewhere. So we have a little more speed in this direction, which is different than the other way. And she doesn't feel any less organized, which is very nice. No, you're not going out the gate. I see the gate. Little wobble there. There we go. Nice lengthening. Whoop. Wobble, wobble. There we go. Really nice. So again,